Right then, lads and lasses, how we doing, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. In today's daily news video, or actually I should start this off by saying, when I do these daily news videos, I normally say we've got some monumental news, we've got some massive news is what I normally say. But in today's daily news video, we finally have some complete news, as Newcastle United have sold Yankuba Minteh to Brighton, and Newcastle United have also agreed a deal to sell Elliot Anderson. That one came out as a bit of a shock. Of course, Yankuba Minteh was pretty inevitably going to be sold because of financial fair play. There was so much talk about that one, but Newcastle United have agreed to sell Elliot Anderson to Nottingham Forest. Now, of course, on first glance, we might be saying, oh, Jody Maradona, he has so much potential, I don't really want to lose him. The fee we are going to get for Elliot Anderson is £35 million. Let me just repeat that. £35 million. Of course, we will take a look at both transfer deals kind of in detail as always, Minteh and Elliot Anderson, but £35 million, I've got to say, we cannot be turning that down. Also, coming the other way to Newcastle United, it's not actually being confirmed if it's in the Elliot Anderson deal or if we're going to have to spend money on him, but Newcastle United have a medical booked for Nottingham Forest backup goalkeeper, 30-year-old Greek international, Odysseus Vlachodimos. Please don't, tell me off if I've pronounced that a bit wrong. But yes, Newcastle United are looking to sign Odysseus Vlachodimos. He has got a medical booked in today and is imminently set to be a Newcastle United player. Some pretty big news here, lads and lasses. So without further ado, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you are all new. Without further ado, let's get into it. So we will start off with Yankuba Minteh, and I kind of just want to correlate to what we said in yesterday's video. I personally said, and I know a few of you have pointed this out by the way, that the Anthony Gordon to Liverpool transfer was spurred out as a smokescreen for Newcastle to sell Yankuba Minteh. Play the clip. If we're being real here, I believe this is a massive smokescreen to selling Yankuba Minteh. Hey, it's never bad to be right, lads and lasses. Thankfully, we worked that one out, and it kind of has worked. Because Anthony Gordon was linked away with Liverpool, it's kind of let us forget about Minteh leaving just that little bit more, but still, we all know this guy's going to be a fantastic footballer. Anyways, onto the news. It's been reported by Fabrizio Romano that Yankuba Minteh to Brighton is a here we go. That pretty much means it is a done deal. Yankuba Minteh becomes Newcastle United's first official sale of the 2024-25 season. Of course, actually getting a fee for it. The fee will be over £30 million, and he will undergo his medical at Brighton and Hove Albion today. He spoke to their new manager, who's just came from St. Pauli. He also starts his job just around the same time as Minteh. Now, I've got to say, of course, Yankuba Minteh, when we play Brighton, he will come back to bite us in the backside, so to speak. It happens with every player we sell. This lad will no doubt, there'll be no doubt about this lad being a fantastic footballer, but with these out-of-date financial fair play rules, we had to unfortunately sell Minteh now, and yeah, it is pretty unfortunate, but it just had to be done. That one was unfortunately out of our hands, and £30 million will go a long way for Newcastle United. And speaking of £30 million, Newcastle United have agreed a deal to sell Elliot Anderson to Nottingham Forest for £35 million. I really can't get my head around this one, but don't worry, it's not a bad thing, but I'm kind of confused to how it is this much. Now I know, straight off the bat, let's just get this out of the way. The Premier League are investigating clubs who are helping each other out, paying big fees for players they naturally wouldn't pay for. But I've got to say, if Newcastle are going to be signing Nottingham Forest's backup goalkeeper, Odysseus Vlachodimos, I can't say us paying that much for him, although trying to help out Forest with financial fair play. Anyways, back on at the Elliot Anderson situation. Newcastle United have agreed a deal to sell Elliot Anderson for £35 million, and Newcastle are reluctantly ready to part with the midfielder. Anderson, although not wanting to leave in Newcastle, is willing to accept the move, and a medical is due today. Anderson wanted to move to Nottingham Forest as he was actually excited by the personal terms that were put forward to him by Nottingham Forest. Now, I've got to say, having Anderson was a little bit of a luxury. We also said that in yesterday's video, which thankfully is turning out to be a little bit of a sweet video now, looking on all this news that we've been given today. Having Elliot Anderson was a little bit of a luxury. Take a look into next season. Of course, we will have Sandro Tonali back against Tottenham Hotspur on the 31st of August, it might be. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's when we'll have him back. Of course, Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton will be our starting midfield. Then we've got Joe Willock, then we've got Lewis Miley. Sean Longstaff is a bit of an Eddie Howe favourite, so Elliot Anderson could have actually been the last midfielder in the pecking order to get £35 million for someone who is nowhere near going to start in your midfield. I've got to say, although he's a fantastic player, and I wish him the best, I think he will have a fantastic career and be a much better player than he already is at 21 years old. Really stepped up his game last season. I don't think we can turn that kind of money down. And of course, as we all know, Elliot Anderson is an academy graduate of Newcastle United, so that £35 million price tag goes down as PR profit, helping us out even more in this financial fair play world, which I think we can kind of get that financial fair play world off our back now. We've sold nearly £60 million worth of players who's not even scored a goal for us. Of course, Elliot Anderson never scored for Newcastle. Minteh didn't even play a minute for Newcastle. Although it is hard to let these players go, we can't hide the fact that £60 million, and to be exact, £65 million for these players. It is very smart business from the club, and certainly has lifted that financial fair play sort of weight off our shoulders. Moving on to the last bit of news that we have been given today. And by the way, if you are wondering, how was all these Newcastle YouTubers put their videos out before you, Josh, I kind of never want to rush it. I always want to wait for the full news to come out. So, for example, if I put that video out about Nottingham Forest being interested in Elliot Anderson, 2 hours later, Newcastle have agreed to sell Elliot Anderson. I always want to wait for the full news, so you kind of aren't bamboozled, so to speak. Moving on to the Greek goalkeeper, Odysseus Vlachodimos, as of course, Newcastle United have a medical booked in for the 30-year-old today. Kind of came out of nowhere, that one. At the time of recording, no fee has yet been discussed. At the time of recording now is £1/2. I don't know if he's actually going to be included in the Elliot Anderson deal, or if Newcastle United's going to pay, I don't know, £5-10 million, which, of course, he's not worth that. He is a backup goalkeeper at Nottingham Forest, but it might be to help them with financial fair play, as it looks they have kind of paid an inflated fee for Elliot Anderson. Now, I've got to say, lads and lasses, hang tight for the Newcastle United news that is coming out today. I'm just going to say this now, and I would never normally promote myself, but of course, I will be out for the England game, which starts in a fair few hours, at 5 o'clock, of course. I will be out in the pub for that game, however, we're 18 now, so of course, I might not get any news out on the YouTube for the rest of the day. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and by the way, I'm not just saying that for my personal gain. Honestly, the fastest news for Newcastle United, I put them out there basically 20 seconds after any sort of news is published. So if you haven't already, give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter if you don't want to miss any news today. But I must just say, with it being the financial fair play and PSR deadline today, Newcastle United could seriously be doing some business. I wouldn't expect any players incoming apart from Vlachodimos, but I would expect maybe a potential Callum Wilson departure, Miggy Almiron, which I don't think is that concrete, but you never know, lads and lasses. After July the 1st, of course, or I should say, after June the 30th, July the 1st is when Newcastle United can spend as much money as nearly as much money as they want. The new financial fair play and PSR regulations come into play, so Newcastle United can spend a whole lot of money, and of course, we've just made nearly £60 million. So, I would expect some big name players coming through, and of course, if you haven't got the YouTube notifications turned on, I would turn them on now, because Newcastle United will certainly be expected to bring some players through the door. Fingers crossed, some big names as well. So there we have it, lads and lasses. What's your thoughts on selling Elliot Anderson and of course Yankuba Minteh for nearly £60 million, and what's your thoughts on bringing Odysseus Vlachodimos to Newcastle United? If you did enjoy the video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new, and of course, turn notification bells on so you are never ever late. Without further ado, lads and lasses, I've been Josh. Go and enjoy your day, people.